I want you to think about the last time you sat somewhere, your car, your bed, a bathroom floor at 2 a.m. and asked yourself one question. Not out loud. Just in your head, quietly, like you were afraid to let it echo. Is this really it? Is this the life I chose? Or the life that just sort of happened to me? If that question has ever crossed your mind, if you felt that slow, creeping numbness that whispers what's the point, then this episode is for you. Not for the person who has it figured out, for the one still sitting in that parking lot. Because here's what I discovered the day I almost gave up completely. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not the exception to every rule of growth. You are blocked. And blocked is something we can fix. Let's talk about how. Why you're not broken, you're just blocked. Let me introduce you to the most destructive myth you might be carrying right now, that other people have something you don't. Some innate drive. Some mysterious quality called willpower. And because you don't have it, your ceiling is lower than theirs. This is false. Deeply, provably, neuroscientifically false. But here's the thing. It doesn't feel false when you're living it. When you've tried and failed enough times, your brain reaches the most logical conclusion it can. Something is wrong with me. So let me name the 3 real culprits behind chronic stuckness, because none of them are character flaws. They are patterns. And patterns can be changed. Culprit 1. A miscalibrated mindset. Your brain learned that stepping out leads to pain, so it keeps you small. That's not weakness. That's neurology. Culprit 2. Invisible beliefs, things like, I'm not the kind of person who finishes things. You think they're facts. They're not. They're filters. Culprit 3. Toxic systems. Your environment, your routine, your phone are all optimized for the life you have, not the life you want. Here's the truth at the bottom of all of this. You're not operating with a character flaw. You're operating with the wrong map. And today we're going to start drawing a new one. But before we can change what you do, we have to change who you believe you are. That's where we go next. The identity shift. Become the person first. Here's a question I want you to sit with. Not analyze, just sit with. Let it land. Who do you believe you are? Not who you wish you were. Not who you're trying to become. Who do you believe at the deepest level that you actually are right now? Because here's what most self-help gets wrong. They start with behavior. Do this. Build this habit. Follow this system. And people try, they white-knuckle their way through 2 weeks and then they stop. And they blame their discipline. But the real reason is more fundamental. You cannot consistently act in ways that contradict your identity. The human psyche is wired for coherence. If your deepest identity says, I'm someone who struggles, who doesn't finish things, every new habit you try is working against the grain of that story. The friction wears you down, and you quit. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your identity. Think about 2 people training for their first marathon. Person A says, I'm trying to become a runner. Person B says, I'm a runner. I'm just training for my first race. Watch how differently they respond to a rainy morning. Person A negotiates. Person B laces up their shoes. Not because they have more discipline, because their behavior is in alignment with their identity. The rain is just weather. Runners run in the rain. Here's the process for rebuilding your identity in 3 steps. First, decide the identity you want to inhabit, not the realistic one, the powerful one. Be specific. Second, gather evidence. Every small action in alignment with that new identity is a vote for that story. 1 push-up counts. 1 page counts. 5 minutes counts. Third, protect the narrative. Watch what you say about yourself casually. I'm terrible with money. I'm such a procrastinator. Every time you say it, your brain believes it more firmly. Now, once you've started shifting who you believe yourself to be, the very next thing you need is a structure for daily action. That's what habits give you. Flows into. 03. The architecture of habits. The unsexy truth of transformation is this. It happens in the ordinary hours. Not in dramatic decisions or peak experiences, but in the quiet, unremarkable repetition of daily action. Your life right now is the sum total of your habits, which means new habits can build a different life. The architecture already exists, you just need to redesign it. Here's the science most people get backward. Motivation doesn't start the fire. Action starts the fire. Motivation is the fire that gets bigger when you add small pieces of wood. consistently over time. This is why starting small is not a cop-out. It is a strategy. When your habit is so small it feels embarrassing, 2 minutes of meditation, 5 minutes of movement, you're doing something more important than the behavior. You're hacking the reward system of your own brain. 2 strategies that change everything. Habit stacking. Attach new habits to existing ones. After I pour my morning coffee, I will write for 5 minutes. The old habit becomes the trigger. Environmental design. Stop fighting your environment. Put your running shoes by the door. Remove the junk food from sight. Make the good behavior the path of least resistance. And remember the golden rule of consistency. A 1% improvement every day compounds to a 37x improvement over a year. That math is staggering. The person who shows up imperfectly daily will always outperform the person who burns white hot for a week and crashes for 2. Show up when it's easy. Show up when it's hard. Show up when you don't feel like it, especially then. Because those days don't just build the habit. They build the person. But all those habits mean nothing if you can't actually do the work when it matters. Which brings us to the one skill that separates people who want results from people who get them. The ability to focus. The focus fortress. We live in the most attention-hostile environment in human history. Your phone was designed by the world's most sophisticated behavioral engineers to be as difficult as possible to put down. And we wonder why we can't focus. Here's what I need you to hear. Focus is not a personality trait. It is a trainable skill. The people you consider disciplined are not mentally superhuman. They have built a fortress around their attention. And they defend it fiercely. Your attention is the most valuable resource you possess. Treat it like the precious, finite, irreplaceable thing it is. There's a distinction I want every ambitious person to understand. Deep work versus shallow work. Deep work is the cognitively demanding work that creates real value. Shallow work is the logistically necessary low-value activity that keeps you busy without moving you forward. Most people spend most of their day in shallow work, constantly interrupted, perpetually reactive, and wonder why they feel busy but unproductive. Here's your focus framework. Block time. Your most important task gets your first and best hours. Work in 90-minute windows aligned with your brain's natural cycles. And start each day by identifying your most important task before you open your email, before you touch your phone. Then do that thing first. Everything else is commentary. Now, you can have the best focus system in the world, but if you don't have the discipline to actually show up for it, none of it matters. And discipline, it turns out, is nothing like what you've been told it is. The discipline code, the resident, not the visitor. I'm going to say something that might surprise you. I don't believe in motivation. Not as a long-term strategy. Motivation is a visiting friend. It shows up uninvited, it's wonderful while it's here, and it leaves without warning, usually when you need it most. Discipline is the resident. It stays. It doesn't need to feel excited. It doesn't require optimal conditions. It shows up because showing up is what it does. And here's what almost no one tells you. Discipline isn't a prison. It's the key. The undisciplined person is not free. They are a slave to every passing impulse, every mood, every comfort that whispers not today. Here's the reframe. Discipline is the act of choosing your future self over your present self. It is an act of self-love. When you close your phone and do the work, you're not depriving yourself. You're honoring a commitment you made to your potential. The core challenge is this. There will always be a gap between when you need to act and when you feel like acting. The undisciplined person waits for the gap to close. The disciplined person has one rule. Action comes first. Feeling follows. On your worst days, reduce the barrier to almost zero. Bad day workout, 10 minutes. Bad day writing, 1 paragraph. The goal isn't performance. It's continuity. Keep the chain unbroken. And here's the compound return no one warns you about. Eventually, the behavior stops feeling like an achievement and starts feeling like who you are. That is the compound return on discipline. And it is extraordinary. But even with all of this identity, habits, focus, discipline, you will still hit walls. So let's talk about what to do when everything falls apart. When it falls apart, rising through setbacks. Here's the truth about transformation. It doesn't go in a straight line. The real journey looks more like a river on a map. It bends, branches, sometimes appears to go backward before opening into something wider. You will hit setbacks. Not as a possibility, as a certainty. And when you do, two things are equally possible. You can let it be the end of the story, or you can let it be the middle. Every setback contains information that success doesn't. Failure shows you exactly where the weak points in your system are. Use that information instead of being destroyed by it. When motivation disappears, stop waiting for it. Generate it through action. Start with your smallest possible habit. When failure hits hard, allow yourself 24 hours of genuine feeling. Then ask, what can I learn from this? Convert emotion into data. And when you break the streak, never miss twice. One miss is a slip. Two misses is the beginning of a new unwanted habit. Return tomorrow. Return imperfectly. Return. The number one predictor of long-term success isn't never failing. It's how quickly and consistently you return after failure, free of self-punishment. You are not starting over. You are starting again with everything you've learned. That is not the same thing. Now let's close with the one decision that changes everything. The one decision that changes everything. We've covered a lot today. Identity before behavior. Habits as architecture. Attention as your most valuable resource. Discipline as self-love. And setbacks as data, not defeat. But all of it, every framework, every strategy, every insight rests on one foundation. One decision. Stop waiting. Stop waiting until you feel ready. Stop waiting until conditions are perfect. Stop waiting for the version of you that feels confident before beginning, because that version is not coming first. They come after. What is available right now, today, in the exact circumstances of your life as it actually is the choice to begin. Imperfectly. Fearfully. Without all the answers. Without the guarantee of success. Your story isn't over. It's just getting started. So here's your one action before this episode is over. Write down the one habit from today that, if practiced daily for 30 days, would most change your experience of your life. Write it down. Tell one person. Start tomorrow morning. That's it. That's the whole game. I'll see you in the next episode. Until then, keep going. If you like it, then don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also press the bell icon to get the new video to you as soon as possible. Once again, recall each and ask yourself question.